Step by Step is brought to you by Shippo. Shippo has everything your business needs to manage the customer delivery experience in one easy-to-use platform. Just click, print, and ship. That's it. Visit goshippo.com/futurecommerce to sign up for free and start using Shippo today. Visit goshippo.com/futurecommerce to sign up for free and start using Shippo today.
Hello, and welcome to Step by Step, a podcast by Future Commerce presented by Shippo. I'm Brian.
And I'm Philip. And this is season 6 of Step by Step. And you're listening to episode 3 of 5. So if you're just jumping into the series midway through, hey, I suggest you go get something cold to drink, rewind, and go listen from the very beginning. Because this season we're answering the question, how do you transform shipping from a cost center into a growth center? And today's episode is going to be amazing. It
is.
I wish we could do the uncut version, the Zack Snyder version of this episode.
Yes, the Zack Snyder cut of this episode
would have been amazing.
Our guests ahead here have some incredible thoughts about
amazing ideas.
Yes, just like big idea guys. James, who you'll hear from. I can't wait to talk to that guy more.
Yeah, James and Dani are visionaries.
Yeah.
They are. At some point, we'll get them on the Future Commerce podcast proper and just let them go. I think they're the kind of guests that you just point in a direction and you just get out of the way.
I'm thinking like late night. Two episodes that it was 3 hours of recording. We're sweating by the end.
Yes. Yep. Brown liquids in glasses being consumed. That's we need to set the stage for these guys to really be able to let loose. But they have some thoughts. And I think the thing that I really appreciate is that they are veterans for a decade now in building marketplace businesses. They've now, this is their third iteration of building marketplaces. They had a successful exit to Mercari some years ago and spent many years building Mercari's marketplace business. Now they're building a business called Flyp, which is like a marketplace for people who sell products to other people so that they can sell them on marketplaces. It's incredible and very meta.
Super smart. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And just brilliant and like perfect kind of a product that needs to exist at exactly this moment in history.
Yes.
But and we'll let them tell their story. The thing that I took away from this interview, Brian, was that Shippo has been a partner that they have trusted for a decade, and that in not one business but 3 now, and not just like a small mom and pop direct consumer business, but also in one of the largest marketplaces online in the whole world. They have been able to use the same partner and the same business in Shippo, because the way that the developer APIs work is it just scales infinitely with their business and allows them to use as little or as much of the functionality as they need as the business grows. How often do you adopt technology and you get to hold on to it for a decade? It's unheard of, and that really impressed me, and was the thing that I walked away from this saying, "Wow, like technology has changed a lot from when I was, brand side 10 years ago."
Yeah, totally. No, I mean, it's till death do us part, if you will. We did a whole guide on this.
Did a whole piece on that. You're getting married, baby. When you pick a shipping and logistics partner.
You hope. It's otherwise the divorce is messy.
Ooh, that's a whole other thing. But we're gonna get into it here. And as we're just setting you up for this episode. It's gonna be a great listen. So sit back. Hey, listen, we all know you don't have a choice anymore. You have to be online. You have to sell online, and customers have rising expectations. And most businesses think of shipping purely as a cost center, but that's what we're here to help reorient, because in this season of Step by Step, we're going to partner with Shippo to help you understand why shipping can be leveraged to be the growth engine that it really can be for your business.
We're emerging in the highest period of growth in e-commerce, which means shipping has increased for everyone.
Yep.
The cost has a real impact on your growth and your customers' willingness to buy online. So if you're an operator in a marketplace business like Flyp, if you're a D2C brand, if you rely on an e-commerce platform for B2B or B2C or in any way, if you run an online retail channel, this series is for you.
Yep. And listen, it's a fascinating listen. It's going to be great. I can't wait for you to hear it. So let's get ready and let's join James Kawas, who's the co-founder and CEO, and Dani Arnaout, who is the co-founder and CTO of Flyp, as they tell us how we can turn from this cost center mindset into making shipping a growth center for your business step by step. We're back with our step-by-step series. Today, we're sitting down with James Kawas and Dani Arnaout, who are co-founders of Flyp. And Flyp is a marketplace, but it's just the most recent marketplace that these two fine gentlemen have built. They spent a decade building marketplaces. And as we're unpacking how shipping impacts the world around us and how we engage in commerce, I feel like there's no better group of folks for us to sit down with. Welcome to the show, you two. Thanks for joining us, James and Dani.
Thank you for having us. Thanks.
Yeah. James, I this is going to be what I'm going to say is the Mr. Toad's Wild Ride of podcasts. Tell me a little bit about Flyp.
Absolutely. So Flyp, in a very brief way, is a marketplace. It's a mobile app that allows people who have stuff that they want to sell, whether they're individuals who just want to declutter their closets, or if they're businesses that have overstock inventory, to be connected with professional resellers who will sell it for them. So let's say you're business owner, you want to liquidate, and you have a lot of inventory. You can essentially go on this app and partner with a bunch of professional resellers. These are full-time or part-time resellers on marketplaces like eBay, Mercari, Poshmark, and so on, and they'll sell it for you on commission. So it's kind of, Forbes calls it the Airbnb of consignment. So I like that description.
I love that too. So you have this 10,000 foot view. I hate that phrase. I don't even know why I just used it, but you've got this huge
high level view.
It's at a very high level. You have this perspective on shipping and perspective on small business marketplaces and peer-to-peer that no one else on this series does. So I really welcome your perspective. This isn't your first go around and building a marketplace. You guys spent some time at Mercari, and I think before that you had another business that was quite successful in the same space.
Correct. So Dani and I have been working together for at least the last 9 years, building secondhand marketplaces. We first built our own marketplace very early on, and in 2012, I believe, and it was an app for people to buy and sell used goods, which is today, there's so many, it sounds like a very uncreative idea. But at the time it was, we built that, we grew it to 500,000 users. And then we joined Mercari, right? Which was like, very much what we built, but on steroids. We grew the product and the user base at Mercari to millions of users, IPO'd, and really saw that from a huge perspective. And Flyp is a natural continuation of our obsession with the resale market, so to speak.
Wow.
So cool. Dani, tell me a little bit about your journey in this process as well.
So as James mentioned, we've been working together for over 9 years, and it all started from a hackathon, but we were very young, and it happened that the startup that we won, or the idea that we won with our latest hackathon, is the marketplace to buy and sell secondhand items that we wanted to go with and test as a startup. And then we got sucked into this industry, and we started exploring and learning much more things as we go. First of all, we were strangers into the industry, and then we became very obsessed with it. And after 9 years, we're still doing the same thing. So just a brief about us. I come from an engineering background. So as a software engineer, loving to go to these hackathons and build things and create things with the ability to use my coding skills. Meeting someone with just pure ideas and how to build a business around these ideas was a very good match. And this is what happened at the beginning. So we started working together in our complementary skill sets. And this is where we are today with Flyp.
Well, today we're on our next episode of Step by Step, and we're super excited about this topic of shipping and how to use it as a growth engine in your business. I think, as Philip said, you have a very unique take in that you've been around marketplaces for so long, and you've been able to experience and leverage shipping in so many different ways. Talk to us a little bit about how we can sort of change the conversation around shipping. Oftentimes it's just looked at as like something that costs money, right? You have to do it. It's something you have to do. If you're going to sell online, you have to pay for shipping. But is it potentially something beyond that? Can we transform it from a cost center to a fundamental growth driver of the business? James, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, there is a truth to that, right? I mean, yes, shipping is a cost-centered part of the business. Certainly, everybody who offers shipping is obsessed with reducing that cost, and even consumers would love to either pay very little shipping or no shipping at all. But when you really look at marketplaces, for instance, like Amazon, Mercari, Flyp, Poshmark, all these marketplaces, shipping is truly it is kind of an acquisition channel for them too, in the sense that offering subsidized shipping is often an acquisition tool. By reducing the cost of pricing and offering reduced pricing on shipping, these marketplaces can attract more buyers and sellers. So, in many ways, $1 spent on shipping is $1 spent on user acquisition. You just want to see it. You can see it in different ways, but certainly, I completely consider it a marketing dollar. You still want to reduce it, but it's absolutely already, at least in marketplaces, a major competitive advantage. Marketplaces are always kind of fighting who has the cheapest, shipping costs for labels and so on and so forth. And historically, even when we were at Mercari, we spent years subsidizing shipping to get people to use the product and to do it without friction. And so it did play a role of a growth engine there, despite still being a cost-sensitive part of the business.
Ooh, I hear you saying something really interesting here, which is actually reducing the cost of shipping. It's not like reducing the cost on business. It's actually more like reducing the cost of your marketing spend. Like, should shipping subsidization come out of marketing budget then?
It is,
and not out of operation budget.
It makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. It's completely that. I mean, why else are you subsidizing shipping? It has to be marketing at the end. So it is, in my opinion. And shipping certainly is it's so important to think of shipping as a communication tool, right? So shipping is so important. And when you talk about shipping as a growth engine, for instance, shipping, of course, is a growth engine. I mean, the entire web is possible. All e-commerce is possible because you could ship stuff. So it is. The question is, how do you master that in a way that is intentional as a brand or as a marketplace is something important.
Yeah, I think we take it for granted that shipping is there and it happens magically behind the scenes. But in a sense, if shipping didn't exist in the way it existed, we would just end up with local marketplaces these days, and that's it.
And I think there's likely room for it with the growth of resale in particular, and your perspective. Like there's likely a lot of room for growth there, and so customer acquisition from the marketplace perspective it's such an interesting dynamic in that you're not necessarily getting a loyal customer, are you? Like if someone is selling resale on the marketplace, they're likely sampling amongst a lot of different marketplaces at once, or a lot of vertical marketplaces. There's apparel marketplaces, right? There's I remember last year or the year before, Etsy acquired Reverb, which is a resale marketplace for used musical equipment. Like the growth and explosion of resale marketplaces is not just akin to like a particular type of marketplace that's either luxury or not. It's they're likely working in a bunch of them. So they have this exposure to multiple pricing structures, multiple shipping structures. And so what I sense you're saying is that marketplace competitive advantage can be around shipping as well from marketplaces to acquire more loyal customers.
Yeah, I mean, it's even simpler than that, right? And the more the field you're in is competitive, the more you're gonna want to compete on any possible part of it. Like even if you just look at general e-commerce, I mean, Amazon if they did one thing right, it's the shipping. I mean, like it's just like they don't have the best cataloging, they don't have the best browsing experience. What they did really well is just know how to subsidize shipping in a very, very, very cutthroat business like retail. So certainly, I think the more competitive your market, the more shipping is a growth engine.
Is there a economy of scale where the larger you grow as a marketplace, the more competitive you can drive those rates because the more volume you're driving to carriers?
Of course, yeah. I mean, usually with carriers, you strike some deals specifically on your volume, and the more you ship, the less it will cost you. And this is where these bigger marketplaces can even provide lower pricing, which are mostly more attractive to their customers. This is what's happening today.
So tell me a little bit more about the mechanics for Flyp, because I feel like what you're doing is a little bit different than what a lot of larger marketplaces are doing. And so how does shipping play into the way that you're operating?
How dare you, Brian? They're the largest resale marketplace that there is. I mean, don't demean them.
Okay, he's he's right. I mean, Flyp is a bit of a weird marketplace. It's a new kind of marketplace in the sense that most marketplaces connect sellers and buyers. We actually connect owners with sellers, if that makes sense. In most marketplaces, if you're the owner of the item or the inventory, you are bullied into becoming the seller of that item. You have to, otherwise it's not going to sell itself. So Flyp takes that a step back and says, if you're the owner of a box of inventory or a pallet of inventory or whatever, you don't have to be the seller. You can give it to a seller, and then the seller goes and finds a buyer across, all these marketplaces. So in many ways, the way it works is on Flyp, you would ship a big box of stuff to a professional reseller that you partner with through the app. And the good thing about something like that is we get to benefit from volume, so to speak. I mean, shipping does get more expensive as the package is heavier or bigger, but it actually is much cheaper to ship a 30-item box versus ship a 1-item box. So it plays. So shipping, in our case, we actually use the most out of the shipping cost structure out there. If you are just selling one T-shirt on Mercari, or Poshmark, you're gonna have to pay like $7 in shipping. If you're shipping an entire box on Flyp, it's gonna cost you anywhere between $11 to $15. So the cost per shipping of one item is much, much better. So in that sense, it's a bit different. But yeah, I mean, it is different, right? You're sending inventory to a reseller, then the reseller posts it across these marketplaces, then they ship it to the end consumers. But as a marketplace, we deal with the first part mostly on our end, and this is how we leverage it.
So in many ways, you're actually using shipping, like this, the idea of bulk shipping, as a way to diversify the type of customer that would engage with the marketplace.
Yeah, I mean, certainly actually one of the biggest friction points in selling is shipping. I mean, people don't want to like box things and ship them out one by one, right? So I think a lot of our innovation in this model is around reducing the friction to ship. Instead of having to ship 30 items to sell, you're shipping now individually, like 30 packages, you're shipping one box. So in many ways, shipping in our business is the model. Like the logistics of shipping is what makes our model attractive.
There's likely a challenge you have in your business that I think a lot of direct to consumer businesses would, have a a lot of tools to be able to enact that would give them some greater insight into like funnel metrics or analytics around like conversion dynamics. What are some of the things that you track at the marketplace level to try to get customers to is there a sweet spot around shipping? Is that something that you test frequently? I'm just curious about how the marketplace might differ from, say, just like a traditional direct-to-consumer business and the analytics stack that you would use to, test hypotheses around pricing and price elasticity.
Yeah, you mean particularly regarding shipping prices?
Yeah, or other conversion metrics that are around, the bottom of the funnel where, decision points are being made around, committing to to a sale,
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say we have more analytics than the average, direct to consumer business. And that's just very true about marketplaces because you're handling supply, you're handling demand. And so and then the relationship between these two. So actually, our analytics stack is much more complex than I wish we were direct to consumer when it comes to analytics. Regarding shipping pricing, we haven't really experimented a lot. We just try to keep it hovering around the same value and kind of average it out. So some people end up paying a little bit more than they would have, but then a lot of people end up paying less than they would have. And then we average it out between these thousands of users. This is what all marketplaces do to offer essentially flat rate shipping, right, for their customers, not ones that change a lot. Like eBay makes it so that it's dynamic. So each shipment is a different price and so on. So that's one way we do it. But analytics wise, we focus a lot on performance, on pro seller performance. How much are our pro sellers selling for their customers? How much is their price accuracy? How fast are they selling stuff? And we optimize for that. We have an entire matching system that is designed to essentially to incentivize pro sellers to behave and to perform better with their customers. So that's a lot of our analytics are done around the efficiency of distribution that resellers are offering to their customers on Flyp.
Hey, I just want to break in here real quick and tell you about Shippo. Shippo is the leading shipping platform designed for growing e-commerce businesses. It connects seamlessly to e-commerce platforms and marketplaces and warehouses. And you are hearing all about that already here on this season of Step by Step. So you know that this company has helped more than 100,000 businesses get real-time discounted rates, print labels, automate international paperwork, track packages, facilitate returns, and more. Shippo's multi-carrier platform provides access to over 60 global carriers and can help you as a business owner navigate the complexities of shipping so that you can focus on what you do best. Grow your business today with Shippo. Go to goshippo.com/futurecommerce now to learn more and to sign up for free. That's goshippo.com/futurecommerce and turn your cost center of a logistics operation into a growth center. So there's this really interesting thing that I had not thought of until you were answering that, James, which is in a B2B scenario, you're sort of creating a moat around a person's business operations. And the way that they see Flyp is potentially this customer acquisition channel. So because it is a owner to a seller operation, there is this interesting dynamic that's very different to direct-to-consumer. Direct-to-consumer is indexed around convenience, price sensitivity. Over time, the more loyal you are, the expectation as a customer is the more efficient and inexpensive it gets. Whereas I think that there's an opportunity for you to become the more a power user becomes, the less sensitive around price and they are, the more you've developed this like critical part of their business infrastructure, the more you could actually test price elasticity and raise rates over time. And they're happy to pay it because they see you as such a vital, fundamental channel. So is that correct?
It's absolutely true. Not that we are planning to leverage that to overcharge customers. But
no, for sure. But you were saying it,
Yeah.
it averages itself out across the entire customer base.
Yeah.
So small, minute changes actually lead to, you being able to grow the whole customer base by further subsidizing new customer acquisition.
Yeah. I mean,
I think.
Go ahead, Danny.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that this is something we noticed from our analytics and numbers. We give kind of scoring. We have a scoring system to see who is performing well and who needs some help as well. And what we realized from our numbers, the higher volume you sell as a reseller, the less you care about these smaller and smaller issues. And then you just focus on getting more inventory to sell it, because once you make much more money, your cost is just you ignore this small cost of, for example, shipping or fees, marketplace fees, because you are making a lot of money. And usually the people on the lower end of the spectrum are the one that are more sensitive about the pricing. Yeah,
that's very true, and that's true on the pro seller side. And it's also true on the client side, which is the owner of the inventory, the one that hires the pro seller, so to speak. We look at the biggest clients that we have, which are predominantly small business owners who just want to liquidate their inventories. And we notice that we play such a role in their liquidation process that most small numbers of shipping and so on don't really matter, because if you are a small business or a boutique or even, you name it, and you have thousands of items you want to move on the market today, if you go to liquidation as an option, you're literally going to get pennies on the dollar. When you come to Flyp, you're earning 50-60% of the actual resale value of the item on these marketplaces. So most people are willing to get past that and just focus on integrating this as part of their cycle of inventory. So what you said is true on both levels, the pro seller and the client as well.
That's really interesting. And so how does Shippo play into this process? What's the sort of the value that it provides to you in that cycle?
That feels like a technical question, so I'm gonna take it.
Sure can be, yeah.
I mean, we've been using Shippo with our previous startup as well, and I think if anyone has tried to use or to talk directly to carriers, you would see how hard it is just to integrate with one carrier. The value for us as a startup that is executing fast and building fast is with Shippo, we were simply able within just a couple hours to have a fully ready label generation machine that integrates with all the big carriers. And for us, one of the benefit to have Shippo is they've got this really cool feature where you give the information that you need. Who are you shipping from where to where, the size of your package, and the weight, and they provide you with the different prices and the different rates from different carriers, and then you can pick the one that works for you. We can leverage that in two ways. We either directly show our customer for example, the lowest price shipping label, or the additional bonus is you can give the options to your customer. Hey, this is USPS, FedEx, UPS. You pick whatever works for you. For example, some customers would be willing to pay the extra money. Like they wouldn't be sensitive for the extra dollar, for example, increase, just because it's more convenient for them to ship with USPS because they have the blue box right next to where they live. So this is what we saw with Shippo, the ease of just generating labels and showing different rates.
Yeah, and so I think to add on what Danny said, Shippo is basically this aggregator of an otherwise very fragmented process, right? If you want to, source prices from and options from different carriers, it would take us months to kind of build something that barely works and that will likely break often. And Shippo kind of takes that heat in the middle and kind of offers it as a simple, straightforward API that just when you use Shippo to generate labels, if you didn't understand how how hard it is to work with carriers, you would think that this is a very easy process and everything is beautiful and nice. But in reality, in the back, it's much more kind of messy. And Shippo kinds of shields the startup from that. The other thing that Shippo does, which is most certainly one of the biggest selling points for Shippo, is the pricing, just the price competitiveness that they offer. I mean, with Shippo, we can get labels much cheaper than anywhere else, essentially. Which is, again, goes back to one of the core points about shipping, is you want to do it and you want to do it cheaply. So Shippo really helps with that. They have a huge volume, so they have this kind of ability to negotiate with carriers and pass on this negotiation benefits to you as a customer of theirs, which I think is it's a very smart thing to do, right? Because they negotiate on the behalf of all of their customers at once, which makes one big customer that can get the best rates. And so that is certainly, I mean, if we didn't use Shippo's API, we would easily be paying twice as much for shipping on average, at least. So these are a few ways that Shippo has been essential in the 3 businesses that we've built so far, the marketplaces.
It's so funny how often, Dani, I come from an engineering background, and before Stripe came around, we would just, we like those were the dark ages. You wanted to implement payments. There were 20 gateways and they were all ancient, and you had to directly integrate to each one of them. Then you had to build an analytics pipeline, and you had to manage reconciliation and reporting, financials all yourself. Like, there was certainly no, I remember I spent years building a subscription management platform in the first direct-to-consumer business I worked in.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Oh, and it was painful, right? And API-first businesses have really democratized access to software companies who are actually creating brand new paradigms. And the fact that you all can achieve this scale by not having to be experts in shipping and negotiating directly with carriers, but by working with, what is effectively the Stripe of shipping, it allows you to focus on your core business, which is the thing I'm trying to say. Is like, you're allowing product owners and power sellers to focus on their business, and Shippo's allowing you to focus on yours.
Yeah,
actually, this is a very good example. A lot of things that we do are within the same concept. So nowadays we don't think about payments. It's just Stripe or any other similar service. Same thing with email, sending emails to your clients, sending SMS. All these kinds of services are very similar, and Shippo plays a huge role with shipping. Just to put it in perspective, like, imagine a world without a payment processor and you have to do everything yourself. This is exactly what Shippo is doing today to shipping labels.
Yeah, the way I like to say it in a very simple way, and is, as a software company, we don't love atoms as much as we love bits, so to speak. We're much more comfortable with bits than atoms. Atoms make us uncomfortable, and like Shippo kind of shields this atoms world of shipping and kind of translates it into the world of bits, so that we can just deal with it much easier. So that's kind of what they do in many ways.
How does this work as you scale? Like, Flyp's got a really interesting business model. I expect big things out of you, and to see a lot of success ahead. And so, as you grow, how do you expect the role of shipping to change, and how you go about, going through the process of getting rates and so on? What do you expect to be different, and what challenges you might have to face, and what opportunities are there as you grow?
The immediate thing I think about is, at scale. Scale is when the small amounts of money add up and they become big amounts of money. So what I think shipping is going to start playing a role in, and look, we've seen that at Mercari. we've gotten big to the point where shipping was something, saving $50 there is not just $50. It's much, much, much more. And I think and that's also where I think Shippo is going to be helpful, and they're already kind of helpful with that, is allowing us to actually keep getting better rates as we become bigger volume customers. I think scaling shipping is about being able to keep the cost of shipping at the lowest possible bracket, but that you can imagine, right? Because at that point we would have completely understood where shipping sits in terms of the growth engine. Like, okay, how much money are we spending on shipping to subsidize, to actually get marketing returns on it? And then it becomes, at scale, things become much more boring, right? At scale, you just want to get the basics, you already know what you're doing. You just want it to be cheaper. Eventually scale means more profitability and so on and so forth. So I think what we would look forward to is being able to efficiently negotiate better terms. And we know that Shippo kind of facilitates that. They already have their own internal structure as how you can get cheaper rates as you grow bigger, which already saves us a lot of ad hoc negotiations we would have had to do with like UPS and USPS, which we once tried to do. It was a nightmare. So I think that's what I envision for shipping at scale. We're going to have a guy who's head of shipping who just deals with this. Yeah.
And you can, right? So it's interesting the maturation of that cycle, which is at this scale of your business right now, especially in early stage, you get the efficiencies of this API as a service sort of business. But as you grow and your needs grow and you become much more formidable, that business allows you to, now this is an area of optimization and an area of potential transformation for us to, if we save money there, it actually translates to massive amounts of operational efficiency. And so it's funny that, this business that works for small startups can also work for giant enterprises, which is not a thing that I think we had seen in prior eras of a SaaS-based e-commerce infrastructure. That's a thing that it's like it was extremely fragmented to only cover a certain market segment. But this new breed certainly is allowing you to have continuity from as your business grows, which is, I don't know if you all have witnessed this, like changing business infrastructure is incredibly distracting.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. And again, this is also where I think Shippo already understands this very well. I mean, you look at their service, when you're a small company, you go there for the convenience. And as you grow, you immediately have all those discounted rates at scale and so on that kind of keep you using Shippo. And this is why immensely huge companies use Shippo. I mean, they did not leave Shippo and decide, we're going to do this thing on our own. It clearly, they didn't, because Shippo knows when to kind of switch that focus from just the convenience of integration to the optimization of cost, to the best of their ability. So the best of what you can do given the current carrier system and the current cost of shipping and the current methods of shipping. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I want to just add one thing also. I think you feel you know the value of something when you forget that it exists and it's essential to your business, and otherwise you cannot go without it. I would say that me and James probably talked about, when we were starting Flyp, we talked about Shippo for 10 minutes when we wanted to integrate it. Like we were like, so we need shipping. Shippo, yeah, okay, go. That's it. And we haven't talked about it ever since. The reason is because it just runs smoothly and we don't have to think about, so now in the future we want to go and build our own solution. No, it is scaling with us as we go and we don't have to think about it.
Whew. Well, I would never say things are on autopilot, but I think things, certain services in your business, especially, when you're creating a brand new type of a marketplace, you have to be focused very intently on creating an excellent customer experience and delivering on your promise to your customer. I hear that from direct to consumer businesses all the time. It seems like it's very true for you too. And these are the types of things that can be incredible distractions for operations teams. Why not just focus on your business? I love it. Any last words, James? I'd love to get, I'll give you the last word. How's that?
That's a lot of pressure. Look, I think shipping is an area that we overall as a society completely underestimate, and we don't put too much thought into it. And it's given how important it is, and given how much it touches everybody's lives. Like, this is not a distant concept. This is something that we see every single day. The only thing I think we ought to do is we ought to think of shipping more often in terms of innovating in shipping, in terms of creating new ways to ship, and making it so that we can communicate physical goods better, than we are today. And companies like Shippo are doing a lot of the work on bridging the gap between carriers and users of those carriers, businesses that use them. But I think when I think of shipping, I think that the one of the biggest frontiers there is being able to create new technologies as to how we ship stuff, and in the first place, not just the cars that move them and the airplanes. What's next, and in a serious way, what's next, right? Not just like let's fly some drones. I think that's kind of what I think is very interesting about shipping. And whatever it is, I'm pretty sure Shippo will support it as an API. So
there it is. Brian, take us home. Thank you guys so much. This has been so great to have you on the show. Really appreciate all your thoughts. And thank you all for listening to Step by Step. Brian.
Thank you so much for listening to Future Commerce. We appreciate your voice as well. So please reach out to us and let us know what you thought of this conversation. Also, if you have a sec, head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star. We would love any feedback you have. And we're looking forward to having you join us for the next episode of Step by Step. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Step by Step. Remember, we have 5 other seasons available, and you can get all of those at futurecommerce.fm/step-by-step. And thank you so much to Shippo for sponsoring this season of Step by Step. Remember that Shippo has everything that your business needs to manage customer delivery experience. You can click, print, and ship, and that's it for free. And you can get started today by going to goshippo.com/futurecommerce. Thank you so much for listening to Step by Step.